Find the Good News is rewarding because I get to visit with people I truly admire. This particular episode is a treat because I finally get to do that with talented muralist Ronnie Collins. What I discovered is something that I already suspected. Ronnie is a genuinely nice person. The friendliness and kindness that he presents is authentic in every way. To me, Ronnie is a true Renaissance man. He paints, writes, sings, and plays original music. He teaches, and his beautiful murals adorn walls and rooms all over the world. He's one of the good guys, and it makes me happy to know he's in the world.
Wake up, it's morning. You're dreaming up a story. I can hear the way it's going, 'cause you're laughing in your sleep on the path to your deliverance, and a holy wall of light pouring through your window.
Old news, bad news, fake news. Sometimes you just want to shut it all down and get no news at all. With Find the Good News, I aim to change that by focusing on good people doing good work. I visit with artists, educators, civic and spiritual leaders, musicians, business owners, students, volunteers, and everyday citizens who are using their creativity, resources, and talents to bring hope and happiness to their corner of the world. In each episode, I dig into the hearts and minds of my extraordinary guests. We have street-level conversations about relatable things going on in their lives. Discover the critical life experiences that shape them, the perspectives that drive them, and the fundamental beliefs that are anchoring them to a path of goodness. There's a lot of news in the world. My name is Oran Parker, and I'm going to find the good.
And I love you just as well.
I guess cyber stalk.
Yeah.
Because I've only really met you the one time or
Sure.
twice, maybe.
Yeah, maybe twice, I think, is all. I've seen you online a lot.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's weird because I go, well, I'll tell you how you came up here. Well, actually, you've come up here a lot because we get these projects, and I think I've contacted you like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, hey, I got this person who's, got this
Yeah.
project and whatever it is, and it just never works out. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, what's going on with that? So a couple of years back, we had got hired to do some branding for a brewery. And it was at the front end, they were just at the very beginning of trying to figure out what their beer bottles were
Yeah.
going to look like. And at the
Yeah.
time, it was going to be a glass bottle. So we had just, I don't know, 60 or 70 different beer bottles in here. And the ones that I liked had, clever names and painted labels.
oh, yeah.
And so we started brainstorming all these names, and then we were going, okay, well, it's cool. We got these cool names. It was all going to be Louisiana themed. And we're like, yeah, but we can't paint. I can't paint,
Yeah.
And I mean, immediately I go, oh, I know who I need to get Ronnie, because I started showing him your art, the client. I said, look,
Yeah.
I got a guy. I don't even know if he'd even be remotely interested. Anyway, they looked at your work and they were like, oh man, that's the guy. And then I had everything ready to reach out to you, and then they pulled the plug and went completely different direction. And I was like, man, that would have been so freaking cool, man.
Well,
Have you ever done anything like that?
I've designed a lot of logos for different companies and stuff, but I mainly paint. I paint murals for a living. And,
Right.
And can't even believe I get to do that for a job,
I know, man.
It's really great. I'm really blessed to do it.
So murals, is that your number one? Like that's your bread and butter?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And how busy do you stay doing murals, man?
Well, I've done it for 25 years.
25 years.
I can't even believe it. I'm not that old.
How old
but-
are you?
No, I'm old. I'm 55.
You're 55?
Yeah,
I would have
55.
never believed that.
Well, I put olive oil and chicken grease around my lips.
No, I mean, I see the work you post. I didn't realize that that your career spanned that far back as a muralist.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I tell people. I said, well, I consider you a muralist. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's
Yeah.
what.
But I do stuff, commissions on canvas and stuff. too,
Yeah.
For different people. But, I started, I had this little courtyard in Welsh, like 25 years ago. And there was this blank wall out there. And I said, I need to paint something on that thing. And so I got some paint out and started painting, and I did this mural with all these archways and that led back into another courtyard, and stuff.
Yeah.
And so somebody saw it and they said, well, I want a mural too. And then it kind of just kept snowballing. Just, so 25 years later, I've been all over the country.
Really?
I just did one in Anchorage, Alaska.
Come on.
And got 2 more jobs in Anchorage while I was there doing that. So next summer I go back to Anchorage, and I got one in Switzerland.
Really?
Yes.
And how do you get that? I mean, so is it just one part? They see your work, and then
Yeah, a lady that owns 2 companies there in Anchorage came over to the people that I was working for, came to their house, and I was out there painting, and she said, I want a mural on my house. I've been looking for somebody to do this mural of a sundial. They have these beautiful sundials that are really elaborate in Europe, and on the front of houses and buildings and stuff. And she said, I've been looking for somebody to do that. Would you come? And of course, she's going to pay my way there and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
yeah.
I'll be there. It's a beautiful little house too.
That's
Beautiful place.
And so that just happens. Is that how it usually goes? It's just you're doing a job,
Yeah.
someone sees the work, and then
Yes.
it's like you pick up the next.
That's exactly.
So you're booked.
Yeah, I have jobs coming. I mean, out the woodworks right now. I'm very blessed to have them. So.
Yeah. Well, man, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, like this is just me, and I am by no means the judge or the standard, but I mean, I think I know what good art looks like.
Your artwork is incredible.
Well, and maybe
It's incredible.
it used to be something. I don't get to illustrate no more, man. I mean, it's
Really?
mostly advertising work. I mean, which is still design, but I do so much more front end interacting and then writing and project planning and direction that I don't get. Now, recently I did get to do a piece, which was nice. Look, we're going to get these sirens that are.
Oh, they're probably looking for me.
They're looking for you.
Yeah, probably.
It's never ending right here.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to be in a soundproof bubble to cut that stuff out here.
All right.
But no, I don't get to do it as much as I used to, and I mean, I do miss it sometimes. But still, looking at your murals and just your painting, when I see a mural, I immediately gauge it against your work.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
I do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Man, it's really good stuff.
The ones that I look at are, of course, a guy from Lafayette, Robert Daffert. He is the king of murals.
Is he? I'm not familiar with his work.
And the most incredible murals. He has one on the Hilton, I believe it is, in New Orleans. This huge clarinet that's probably 20 stories high. And how does he see this perspective of this?
Yeah.
On this building that big, and as you're going across the Baton Rouge Bridge to the left on the casino, that harmonica.
Is that's him?
That's Robert Daffert.
Oh wow, man, you're right. That's large scale stuff.
He's incredible.
What's the largest that you've done that you've had to deal with?
Probably 30 by 155 feet in Jennings.
Man.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest, I don't even know how I would begin something like that. I mean, that's such a large scale coming from where we work, which is really right in front of your face.
Sure. Well, I mean, I just design on the computer, where an inch on the computer is a foot on the wall.
Is that how you do it?
Just scale it
inch
out.
to foot scale? Okay.
Yeah. Or 3 feet or whatever, whatever the scale I want it to be. But it makes it easy to get it laid out like that. So.
Yeah. Do you get called back on projects that you've done in the past to go back and?
I've done with that particular one. I've done it 3 times now.
Really?
So after 12 years, 10 or 12 years, it's time to freshen it up some. So So they'll call back, and I'm like, I want to do it again. Let's do something new.
Look, man, I'm going to tell you that is actually a very good description of what we do, because a lot of what we do is cyclical. I can tell you
exactly
what project's going to be, because they're the same pieces year after year. It would just be, I mean, look, this table right here, you can look in here and see 15 years of some of the same piece that just gets freshened up every year, And so I get it. I mean, and on one hand you go, oh, I'm excited that I've done it. But on the other hand, it's like, got to dig in there again and try to get something out, you know.
Do you design these logos and everything?
Some of them, yeah. Some of that stuff we do. Sometimes we inherit projects.
Yeah.
You know? I'd say it's probably 50-50, honestly. I almost say maybe we inherit more than we do from the ground up. And then if we get to stay with a brand long enough,
then you can
see the switch. But that front end stuff, we're typically trying to. Most of the time, when we get somebody, they've either had I don't know, that probably sounds negative, but they've had a bad experience maybe, or maybe it's just been kind of stagnant for a while, and they're ready to kind of kick things up a notch. And so that's usually
something fresh.
Yeah.
I like fresh. You know,
yeah,
fresh
me too. I mean, that's what I kind of wondered. Do you get where you've done a mural, but then not just freshening it up, but do they call you and go, hey, look, we want to kind of change this?
Yes.
Like it had something in it that isn't relevant anymore.
I just did one for the Arts Council in Jennings. It's not real big. I mean, maybe 10 by 50 or something like that. But they had one up there for 13 years, and it was looking really rough. But so we did a whole new look for it and finished that. And then I've been working on a project for the Nutcracker Ballet that's coming up at the Civic Center, I believe.
Yeah. And you just finished that today, right?
Today I finished it. Yes. I was like, man.
It looks good, though.
Well, thank you.
Looks good.
It's fun to complete a project and get ready for the next thing, you know. So.
And can you gauge? I mean, can you gauge how long something's going to take? Have you gotten that?
I have. I've gotten to the point that I can kind of see it and know the detail that's in it, and just kind of get pretty close to how long it's going to take me. So.
Man, I mean, it's impressive because look, I mean, I look at your pictures. That's all. Again, I've been wanting to talk to you in depth for a long time because I've been following you online. But I look at the progress of these things, and as I'm thinking about it from my production mind, I'm going, okay, look, he's got. Yeah, the art alone is incredible, right?
Thank you.
But you've got all those other logistics to deal with. Scaffolding, is it indoors? Is it outdoors? You know, and then some of it when it's in a weird spot, I'm like, man, he's just doing a piece and he's got to set it up to where they can.
Sometimes. So.
Yeah, and it's just there for how long? I mean,
it could be 15 years, you know, and then I'll come back. Like the first one I did in Jennings has been there for probably 20 years now.
Wow.
And it's still, you know, it doesn't look that bad, really.
Oh, I think murals just add something to a community.
Yeah, I do too. Baton Rouge has got a big thing going now where they're adding murals all over the place, and beautiful murals. I mean, really nice stuff.
Yeah. You know, when I lived in Natchitoches, Louisiana, I was in the sign business up there, and I guess back then it was sort of the tail end of hand painted signs kind of going away. And there were a few guys up there though that really still did like the hand painted work, and you know, you could still see like restaurants that had their fences that had the big their menu items to be painted on the fence with some cool lettering and stuff. And I used to love to watch those guys do that, man. It was fascinating. But you don't see it as much.
There was a man when I was growing up, Mr. Hall, that lived in Welsh, and he was the sign man. I mean, he could do lettering just so easy. And lettering has never been my thing, you know.
Well, it's a totally different sensibility than what you're doing.
Yeah. I like the freedom of the paint, you know. Let's just sling paint, you know. So.
Oh man, I love some of the wildlife stuff that you do. But I mean, your range is really broad. But I mean, I'm sure you get asked to do a lot of that Louisiana.
Yeah, I do. People around here love the birds.
Oh man,
and I do too. I love that. Just going out into nature and taking pictures and stuff.
Well, and I can tell by you love nature, don't you?
Oh, I do.
I see a lot of
If I can be outside, let's go. So
I wanted to kind of talk about that today because there's another. I always think of you as a Renaissance man because you know you got all these different talents. And when I was looking through your photos a while back, I was bragging to my wife. I said, "Man, he's got some really cool garden structures, man. You got a pretty elaborate garden going on."
We like the garden, and when I bought this property, I mean it's just a great place out there. I got 5 acres, and and there's I did a raised bed system out there.
It's beautiful.
That's really neat. Just how, yeah, I didn't want just square boxes, or
Yeah.
rectangular boxes. I had to have a big fanned out area,
Yeah.
so with different, different levels in it and all that. But
Well, your creativity, that's exactly what I thought. I said, okay, you're just a creative person, and it pours out into different avenues, right? I mean,
well, and you too. I mean, you do the same stuff, and
yeah, I mean, it's a little, I don't know. There's
your
some
sense of perspective is just amazing in your drawings and stuff. I'm just like,
well,
wow.
I've got to really be humble because I don't get to hear too much about my art anymore. Because man,
it's so
I mean,
good.
I'm a little ashamed of it because I guess, this business is creative, and I do talk about it in a lot of these podcasts because, that's sort of why I'm doing this show, because you can get caught in just sort of that go, time, tick tock. And so our business is tied to the deadline. And with it being tied to deadline, it can kind of, you have to be creative, but it's like fast. It just kind of strips
deadlines, but I can do deadlines, but I don't really like them.
Well, you probably don't see, some people, they say, oh, I thrive under the deadline.
Oh, yeah.
I can do the deadline, and we do it every day, but I don't know if I'd say I'll say this. I don't know if maybe I perform well because I'm focused and I know I got a goal, but I don't like what it does to me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I don't know. As a creative person, I found it's you got one foot in one reality and another foot in the other one. It's just kind of
Sure.
different animal.
Well, I think one of the things that pushes me is there's this box out in front of my house that these paper things keep coming in called bills. And so, you got to keep those paid or they come and get you.
Oh my gosh, yes, man, I know. And it seems like the more you get, the more you got to give away. I mean, it's really like that. I don't know. I just I'm always been fascinated. One thing about you that I that's why I wanted to get you on the show too was that, and again, it may just be the veneer of what I see versus what we know, but you always seem like you're doing positive stuff. I mean, you're involved in, and we were just talking, you're teaching art classes, you're doing art, you play music, you got this beautiful property, you love to go, you like to travel, don't you?
Oh my, that's why I work, so I can travel.
Yeah.
And work also allows me to travel too, because I get to go all over the country doing murals.
They're chasing
me again.
I know.
Man.
There must be something on fire. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know either. Hope they're okay. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been unbelievable where this art has, taken me. I've been all over Guatemala. I've been, of course, Europe a few times, and just trying to get out there and see things and see new artwork that inspires you to do new things.
Yeah. Have you? When did you realize that this is what you were going to be doing? I mean, was this a gradual thing, or did this hit you when you were young? Like, oh, I love art. I mean, was it always that way?
Yeah, I always did. I remember, at least in probably fourth grade, sitting, drawing and stuff in class instead of listening. That's, I'm dumb as a stick, but I can draw a stick figure. So, but really, I remember from as far back as that, and I remember my sixth grade math teacher said, "You'll never do anything with this art stuff. You need to pay attention in class." And I just want to go shake my paintbrush at him now. So no, he was a nice guy. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, I always wonder that because, people have different stories. There's a guy here in town who, he was a musician and he did music and stuff. And then one day he just said, I like art. Mm-hmm. And then he just started drawing, and just all of a sudden he's drawing and painting, and it just seems like, it was like this latent thing that was buried in there. And, you just find that it's in people sometimes. Mm-hmm. You feel like it's natural, that it just comes to you? I mean,
I've taken tons of lessons, and I went to the Art Institute of Dallas.
Okay.
And got a little degree there. But I mean, has anyone ever asked me to see my degree? No. They want to see your work. What can you do?
Yeah.
So, and that's where I get most of my work is word of mouth. People come in and see murals that I've done in other people's homes, and they say, "Who did that?" So,
right.
Then here comes another job. So I just did a big job in Anchorage, and I say a big job. It wasn't a big job, but I did it in 3 days. I was there for 2.5 weeks, so it was more like a vacation and
Yeah.
and then work too. But then I got 3 other jobs from that
job.
one job. So
Yeah, and
so
that's
back
incredible.
to Anchorage I go next summer.
So doing murals and focusing on murals. I mean, I know you do other work, but how did you know that was how did you just fall into that? Did you go, oh, I'm going to do this? Or was it just like something you did and you found you were good at it? How'd that happen?
Well, I think did we say on air that that I had a courtyard in Welsh?
Yeah, you had that courtyard.
Okay,
yeah.
So,
So
that's
that was
kinda
really
what started it. Yeah,
okay.
that started it. So so that, and just I don't know why murals. I mean, I guess because I did the one, and it just kind of kept snowballing. So
Yeah.
and I would have never thought 25 years later I'm doing murals.
Sure. Well, not everybody can do that. I mean,
Yeah,
you
there's
ask
not
another
many.
painter, hey, paint a mural. They may be like, I don't know. I'm used
Yeah.
to this small canvas.
Yeah, I like to get in there and slam that paint up there, get it done. So
Yeah, man,
but I
that's-
like to do quality work. I'm not saying just slam it up.
No, I know what you mean. Well, no,
But-
I think anybody can go look at your work.
Yeah.
And I would think anybody would say it's not quality.
Well, thank
Because, man, there was back years ago, I guess you were painting some riverboats at a school,
that
maybe?
was in
or-
that's the Navy base down in Belle Chase, I think it
Oh,
was,
okay.
south of New Orleans.
I
and,
loved watching that project
yeah,
come to
that was
life,
fun.
man. That smoke coming out of those
That was
stacks.
great. Yeah. So they found a piece of artwork, and that's what they wanted. It's probably from an old painting or something.
I gotcha.
And I don't remember the artist that originally did it, but that's what they wanted. And I said, okay, I can paint it up there. And I think it was like probably 25 feet by 16 feet or something, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And so I have to go in there between meal times because it was in a cafeteria area and
Yeah.
on the base. And pretty neat job though.
It was nice to. I love watching progression. I mean, it's
Me
just
too.
not every artist takes those pictures of their work,
Yeah.
But you were doing that, and I remember one of the first pictures you posted. It just had the smoke. I think maybe you did that first.
Yeah,
possibly.
I did. The sky and the smoke.
The sky,
and stuff.
yeah, and I was like, oh, what is that? And then as it started forming, I was like, this is incredible.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to do fun projects and new things that I've painted everything from rooms that were totally under the ocean, even the surface of the water on the ceiling, and he had a huge saltwater aquarium in the wall. And I'm sitting here talking with my hands and stuff. This is not seen. So anyway, I can't talk unless my hands are moving.
That's okay.
So, but it was pretty neat. That was a great project. And they said, you can stay in the guest quarters. And I was like, the guest quarters? So they lead me down this hallway, and there's this total other house down this area. And she said, don't make your bed. The maids will come in and make your
Oh,
bed. I
my
said,
gosh.
oh, no. So I get in there and make my bed, hurry up and make the bed before they come. I'm like, don't do that. No.
Man, so I mean, this has led you to just all these different experiences.
It's been so much fun. So much fun.
Have you ever had a project just kind of go sour?
Only one.
Really? In 25 years?
25 years. There was a job in Houston, and it was on a ceiling, and ceilings are really tough already. And so they kept changing, and I was I had been there already a
man.
week.
So
and I was like, I'm ready to go home already. And so they just kept changing, and I said, okay, that's it. I got to go.
So what happens is it just kind of just doesn't happen. The project just ends.
I just left on that one. So
Yeah.
but that's the only one I can think of that I ever.
That's pretty good odds.
said, yeah, that's not
really,
bad. No.
That's a good
Now,
percentage.
one time at the Hennings house, I had one disaster in my whole time. It was a day. Let me tell you, they had just finished their house, and I was on an upstairs balcony, and I was out on the porch on that upstairs balcony with a table painting some stuff, and I went to move the table because the wind was bad, and there was a bucket of Smurf blue paint underneath that table, and I kicked that bucket and paint went everywhere, all the way up to my hip. Paint was all over me, all over that brick balcony out there with these big
Oh my
columns
gosh,
and
yeah. So
stuff.
it's not just on you and the
It
wall.
was on
It's
the
everywhere.
house.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I was dying. I hollered downstairs, and they got the painter over there. We got it all off. It was all cleaned up, but that's the only time I've had a disaster. A pretty rough day.
Oh man. So what? I mean, how would you do? I mean, is it?
But the painter said, keep it wet till I get there. And we just got out there and scrubbed it, and it finally all washed off.
Wow.
And there was thank God they had sealed the brick the day before.
Yeah, so it didn't get in all those. Oh, because I was about to say some of that unsealed, chalky kind of stuff.
yeah.
It's going to hold that for a while. Oh my gosh, man.
So that was my big disaster story in 25 years.
That's really not that bad. God, I
No,
wish I could say that.
yeah.
I mean, I've had quite
Yeah.
a few. Well, I mean, so have you ever had? What would you say is the most fulfilling piece that you've done? Like where you just, I mean, that may be hard to answer, but like something you go, oh, to this day, this is the thing that I think of that I want to show off as my pinnacle piece.
God.
That's probably tough.
Probably the room that was all underwater, like the ocean and the.
I mean, so that was
reefs and
ceiling, walls, it was everything.
everything. That's one that stands out in my mind. I mean, some pieces on canvas that I've done. I like a lot of those too. But you can go on my Facebook page of Ronnie Collins murals. Is on there, and you could see a bunch of these pieces of work and stuff. But
Yeah, and it's full. I mean, you've got.
oh yeah, I've got a lot of stuff from
a
over the
lot.
years, and then there's things that I didn't even put on there yet, so I need to get in there and update it all.
Have you ever had anybody apprentice under you?
Well, I mean, I kind of have people that have come in and helped me do like base coats
Okay.
and things. I like to do the detail myself
Sure.
because it's hard to get two different people to have the same
Yeah.
style and same look. It's really hard to get that.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are a couple of folks around here who have done, I guess they're called murals. They're not like what you're doing,
Oh,
but they're more geometric kind of shapes and things. And I think it's,
Fred Starks does beautiful.
oh,
work.
Fred, his
Yeah.
work's good. Yeah.
He does really good work.
Yeah. This stuff is some of the stuff the city's done. And I think it was designed like a little more, I don't know what the right word is. I don't want to offend anybody listening, but it may be a little more cartoon like.
Yeah.
But two different people are working on it. And I just kind of wondered how that works, I don't guess it's a different kind of sense plan maybe they have going.
Yeah, Robert Deford has a whole crew that works with him.
Really?
And how does he get the same feel through
Yeah,
the
that's-
whole thing? I don't know.
Yeah, because
really
I mean,
don't
it seems like you're right. Each person has their own kind of style or stroke patterns and things like that. So
I can see that in my students' work. Each one of them has their own little style,
yeah, we'll
And
talk about that. Your students. I mean, you were telling me earlier about.
Yep, I teach a class in Jennings on Monday nights, and Monday night class, and then I teach one on Thursday nights. So that's where I'll go when I leave here, they each have their own little feel about their paintings.
Really?
Some of them like a lot of color, some of them like more earth tones and things.
Yeah.
Even just their brushstrokes. Each person has their own little signature.
Is this beginner classes or like?
Yeah, but my classes stay full, and most of the time people don't leave that often.
Okay.
And I've got about 20 students, I guess now.
That's a good bit of people.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
so-
in one. That's in one.
No, I
Between
have
the two.
12 and then some here in Lake Charles too. But the classes are fun. I enjoy just it gets me out of my everyday rush.
Sure.
And
Well, how satisfying is it? I mean, I think, I like to meander into this territory with people because it makes me ask questions about why I'm doing anything I do. So you make a living, a good living, you travel and
Yeah.
you have all this work ahead of you, but you're still taking time out to go and teach a class. And you can't be teaching that
Yeah.
class for the money.
yeah, well, no, not really. I mean, I do like the money. I mean, it pays
Yeah, sure, right.
bills and stuff. But I like just the interaction with people and passing that information that I was given on to new people, you know.
Yeah.
We've more people need to take time and do that. I mean, hopefully this generation coming up want to, you know, learn that, learn, you know, anything, an instrument or whatever, you know. It's nice. I see it in the French music. A lot of the younger people are picking that back up again and keeping that going. You know,
Yeah.
keeping that style of music and stuff going.
And I'm happy, I know it.
You've probably heard me mention filming videos, building websites, creating logos, or building brands on this podcast. Well, there's a good reason for that. I'm a brand builder, and my brand is Parker Brand Creative Services. My team and I have built countless brands in the Gulf Coast region, and a lot of our work in the travel and tourism industry is experienced across the country and honestly the whole world. We have our specialties: web, logo, package, and whole brand design, as well as video production and photography. But the reality is, we function as a full-service advertising agency to businesses that don't really mesh well with larger advertising agencies or just don't want to have in-house creative departments. But don't listen to what I say. Just go to our website, parkerbrandup.com, and take a look at what we do. We're a show it, don't say it team. Okay, you should definitely say it too, but you know what I mean. That's parkerbrandup.com. We think sideways, we push forward, and we'll get your brand up.
So take this, you've earned it. A melody and chorus.
Well, I mean, you know, I think you could teach 300 people in all these years, and even if just one becomes a great painter like you, and then develops his talents and pass it on, it keeps art alive. And I mean, the joy that people may not really stop and think about it, but the joy you get from those murals and that artwork being in your community, it does something to you. I know when I go to a city, I was in, I don't remember the name of the city, but I was right outside of Boulder last year. And as I was driving, I was on my way to Boulder. And everything was painted.
Really?
Oh, man. All the little
I'd like to see
junction
that.
boxes. I wish I could think of it off the top of my head. I'd have to look at my travel itinerary, but I couldn't keep my eyes off of every alleyway, every ball. I mean, stuff that you go, what? That's nothing. Why they just painted everything? And it really, I don't know, man. It worked. It worked. It was just
really?
Neat looking, you know.
That's
You'd have
cool.
your eye just kind of caught, and it made you want to, I guess, from maybe, I don't know, from a travel perspective, it kind of brings your eye into places that you maybe wouldn't have went.
Yeah.
And so you go, oh, what's down there? Because there's this art. Well, to me, it's not graffiti, which I think some graffiti is just incredibly beautiful.
Some
I mean,
of it's really
awesome.
nice. Yeah.
But, you know, it takes your eye into these places and you go, oh, well, somebody cared to go down there and they spent the time here. So, I don't know, it kind of softens the whole thing up, you know? So it takes you into some places you may not have went.
You know, when I was, I took a workshop in Philadelphia with an artist named Nelson Shanks, who was like one of the top portrait artists. I think one of his paintings that was in the news not too long ago was the one where Monica Lewinsky's shadow was in the background of Clinton's.
I hadn't seen it.
That's one of his. But anyway, so I took a workshop with him, and in Philadelphia, there was unbelievable amounts of these huge murals that were just beautiful. And I mean, it just adds so much to that city. You know?
It does.
And when you have to sit and wait for a train to go by, I'm sitting there looking at the graffiti, and
I know,
and you see some really neat stuff going by.
Yeah, I have some pictures, a little folder I keep of graffiti, and I love it. I mean, when you see something that's really nice, I don't know. There for a while here in Sulphur, there was some Cartoon Network. Somebody, I don't know. I don't know who did it, but there was all this Cartoon Network stuff like Space Ghost and all these characters, you know. And I was like, I guess because I like that stuff, I was like, hey, what's that? And I'd stop and don't break your neck to try to see it. And you know it's going to be gone. You're not going to see it, again.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, well, I know it definitely brightens up a community, and I mean, I think sharing your art through teaching, I don't know if there's anything better you could do. I mean, what's the ages of the people that are in? Is it just a wide range?
They're pretty much adult. Well, not all. I'm not an adult yet, and I'm working on that. But yeah, it's all adult classes. I tried teaching kids, but I like to be their friend more than I like to be, to discipline them. And you got to be on them.
Yeah.
And so I just got to the point. I'm like, I can't babysit.
Right.
And I love teaching them that stuff, but it's just the adults are fun. They're it gets them away from their everyday grandkids or kids or whatever, and they come and they call it their therapy.
Yeah.
So they get to come in and just relax and do what they want to do for a while.
I thought art class in college was relaxing. I mean, even photography or whatever it was. I mean, stone lithography and all that stuff. Of course, that was a different time in my life. I had a lot more. When you're younger, you got a lot less stressors, and it's like, oh, you can just go to art class and just settle in. You don't have any kids, But I used to love figure drawing class.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do that on Wednesday nights.
Do you?
In Lafayette, yeah.
Really?
I just started doing it with a group there.
That's my favorite thing,
fun.
man.
It's a lot of fun. And it's great for your, to practice that and see that 3D,
Yeah. Are y'all doing live models?
Yeah, live models.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are they nudes or are they? Okay.
Nudes.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun. My students are like, they're nude?
Yeah.
Like,
I do remember my first, it's now, I'll say this too. I think anybody who didn't, I think everybody should have to take a figure drawing class, not just for the art.
Yeah.
I remember being in my first figure drawing class, and it was kind of that, you're still young, man. And so seeing a nude person is still sort of taboo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I remember it was kind of like, I was honestly really concerned, like, how am I going to feel about this? How am I going to be able to do this? And you have all these, just all these preconceived thoughts about what it's going to be like, right?
Yeah.
And so I think my first class, I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy that came in, he had a big beard, and hairy guy. Yeah. And so he just walks in with a robe, and I'm like, okay, so this is it. And I mean, he took his robe off, and honestly, after that,
it was fine.
It didn't bug me at all. And honestly, I think it got me more. I think we get all hung up on sexuality and stuff, and I was like, it's not that at all. I was like, I was like, after a while, I told people, I said, I find the human form so beautiful, and seeing a nude human isn't always sexual. It doesn't have to be. And I think I think everybody should have to experience that.
Yeah. To me, it's like painting a bowl of fruit or whatever else, a bird or whatever.
Right. I mean, we look at all these other beautiful things in the world. Yeah. I just thought it was neat too, that class. I don't know. I don't want to get hung up on that because I really liked that class.
Yeah.
But, every time we'd have a different model come in, the human body was so different each time.
Sure.
Yeah. The difference between a young woman, an older man. So that we had a guy who was completely hairless. And I actually liked his the best because when he would come in, he wasn't, I wouldn't say muscular, but he was kind of lean.
Toned and
but he had no hair.
Yeah.
And so when the lights would hit him, I loved it because I was going, I can see every little vein and muscle. And it was like almost like that was my favorite because I could really learn where things belonged, from memory.
When I was at the Art Institute, we would have this lady come in. She was in her 80s, and she was a little full-figured, but we got the best drawings from drawing and painting that lady because there was just this really cool feel to what
her body, kind of the way her body was. Yeah.
Very Rubenesque, I guess they say.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always liked, and I still have a fascination with it. I always liked bones.
Yeah.
Even still, I like skulls and stuff. I mean, I love the way the light hits on skulls, and I'm like, I think there's this, it's kind of funny. I have a skull tattoo on my arm, and I always like, when I get old enough to get tattoos, I'm going to get, a skull sooner or later. And so I got a guy that I really like. His art's beautiful, and he put a skull on my arm. And I'm going to tell you, it's funny how many people look at that skull and they think, oh, what the heck's that? Yeah. Like it sends this like signal. And I mean, when I get to talking to them, they're like, dude, I saw that skull on your arm and I thought,
you were bad.
There's something up with that. That's weird. And I was like, man. And then they go, what the heck? Why did you get that? And I'm like, well, man, not everything is what you think it is. Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show you,
Sure.
You know, even tattoo art, I think, is just some people are incredible,
Some
man.
of that stuff is really nice. I don't have any, but I just some of the work is just beautiful. Or those tattoo shows on TV,
Yeah.
you see what they can do with
And that's
that.
a whole nother art form
I'm
in
like,
itself.
how
I
do they
mean,
do that? You know,
Yeah.
I don't see that. You know.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I guess it's like anything. I mean, they probably were like you. They saw something, they did it, and then it's, you know, I always wonder about that. So your story, your path, you know, starts with you have this project that you're involved with and that you see, and then it kind of gets you on that path. Does you ever wonder if you go, if I hadn't had that happen, could I have been something else or done a different
Yeah.
type of, like a totally different?
Well, I mean, I've always had music and the artwork, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I started artwork when I was a sophomore in high school. I took with a lady in Welsh, Miss Jeanette Hollis, and she taught me all the basic stuff that I needed to get started with, and gave me that foundation. And then from there, went to the Art Institute, and it just kept going, taking workshops with different people all over the country, and trying to get with the best ones I could get with, you know.
Yeah.
And I studied with a guy in Lafayette, Carl Groh, an incredible artist, just unbelievable when it comes to portraits and stuff of people. And but I always had that music, you know, in the same, you know, at the same time. I've always played, you know, guitar and would sing and write. And so I had moved to Austin, Texas for, I forgot when I moved there, 87 maybe. Well, anyway, but I moved to Austin and ended up at a barbecue for 4th of July. And so I went down there to play music. They said some other guys are going to bring their guitars, just come down and jam. And we were sitting around all day, and this group of people came up and they said, "Would you ever do this for a living?" And I'm like, "Well, no, I just play for fun, you know, on the back porch and play for the dogs and stuff." So the next thing I know, they're contacting me again, and they want to sign me to a record label there.
Now, what year is this?
God, I'm thinking around 90, I guess,
Okay.
1990. Somewhere around.
Wow, so they just
I
heard
think
you
it's-
playing for fun, and they're going, "Hey, we want you to be on,
Yeah.
make a record." Okay.
And so within a week, they're bringing me to buy new guitars and amps and
Wow.
clothes.
And you're going-
I'm like, nah, this ain't happening, you know. So, but it did. They produced a music video that you can see on YouTube. It's
Okay.
Ronnie Collins' "Town of Fewer People."
And how old are you then?
I was 30 years old.
Wow, man.
I was 30, so I didn't know squat. So I still don't know squat, but you know, it was still fun. But they did a lot of stuff. All I did, I was on salary to do nothing but write and sing and record, and
this has come out of nowhere for you.
yeah,
You had
just
no clue.
nothing. And
That's incredible.
like, you know, it's amazing what falls in my lap. There's always some great thing that comes my way, and I don't know why, but some friends in Jennings call me Kramer because every time something good happens, they say Kramer. So
Man, you know, I mean, that's interesting. There are people who believe that that's how the universe works, you
Yeah.
know, that you draw to yourself what you put out there. And I mean, I've only met you a couple of times, but when I started this show and I started making my list of people I wanted to contact, I had you on that list. And a lot of people were like, "Well, I don't know him. Is he not from here?" I said, "When he's not from here," I said, "but I'm tell you what I think." And this is me looking at you. I think you always were always so friendly the few times I met you. And you seem happy, man. Like, I don't know. I just, that was my big takeaway, is like, this guy's happy. He's happy. I don't know what else to say. I mean, and
Most of
you're
the
putting
time-
that out there. Maybe you're getting it back, you know?
most of the time I am. I mean, unless I'm driving, I'm a totally different person than when I'm driving.
I think it
I'm like,
happens to all of us.
Oh my Lord. But other than driving, most of the time I'm pretty calm. And
That's
and
funny
just
that you
easygoing.
say that.
Why are you like that?
Because no, man, it is interesting because, like I said, it's like a lot of people. You see what they put on Facebook. A lot of times that's kind of an echo of who they are, and I do notice that you post a lot of positive, but you do every once in a while. It's like these drivers here, or you'll make a few crazy. Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, hey, you don't like that. They don't like that.
I'm bad about driving. I need a driver. That's what I need.
Oh man, you're almost there. Just all this work. Get you an assistant, hire them to be an apprentice, and then just let them drive you.
Drive me
everywhere.
around. That's it.
Yeah. So the music thing is what surprised me too, because I really didn't know, and I'm always amazed by that. How many artists are also musicians. I'm like, man, it just translates. It seems like it almost always goes that way.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people that are artists and musicians, and we do a lot of things in St. Francisville, north of Baton Rouge, and met a whole bunch of great musicians up there that are just the nicest people, and kind of like family now. I mean, they really are. And we go out and just sit around and jam with them and have a great time. And a friend of mine that lives in Anchorage gave us a little apartment over there, so we have a little place on the weekend to go and, of course, spend more time playing music with these people. And I'll be playing there. They have a Yellow Leaf Festival on October 27th, I think is a Saturday.
Yeah.
27th, 28th is Yellow Leaf Festival in St. Francisville, and we'll be playing there at 1 o'clock. I have a little band.
That's what I was going to ask you. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I have a little band there in Jennings.
What's y'all's name? What's your band's name?
Ronnie Collins, of course.
There you go.
No, we just never came up with the name.
Is it Ronnie Collins and the Somethings, or is it just?
No, I don't know.
Or is it like the Ronnie Collins band?
Yeah, I guess the Ronnie Collins band, or we just go by Ronnie Collins.
Because I look at your promotions and they have you on them, is
Yeah.
why I kind of wondered if there was more.
And some of my promotions I've gotten flack over, but I'm not going to go into that.
Now, what's that?
No, I can't tell you.
Can't talk about it?
No,
Okay.
I can't tell you. Yeah, but I don't want to bring up all the craziness. So.
Well, now, what is that called? I saw something. Is it Thursdays or Tuesdays?
Oh,
Turn It Up.
Turn It Up Tuesdays.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, Joy LeBlue from Jennings, has a place in Chicago also, and she would go to these events where they would have outdoor music and things, and a different kind of music. And she said we need to do that in Jennings, and so we started. And she said let's do it on Tuesday night. There's nothing going on Tuesdays, and so we called it Turn It Up Tuesday. And we have some great bands. We have 2 more. Well, I don't know when this is going to air, but this coming Tuesday, there'll be a group called Blind Ambition, and then we got the following Tuesday, Leroy Thomas, and then to close the season is going to be, what's his name? I'm going to go blank. Look. Oh, man. Bernie Allen.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, Bernie. But, yeah, on the last week. But
What kind of music is this? Is it different, or is it the same
different.
kind of
some
genre?
Of it's country, and some country and Zydeco, French. Leroy Thomas, of course, is French or Zydeco music. And then Bernie Allen. I've never heard Bernie Allen, but I assume he does Cajun and country and things. I know he plays accordion.
Are they all from the Jennings area, or is it different?
All over around that area. Some from Lake Charles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've had some from Lake Charles. Rosie and the something Rockers. I can't remember.
I don't know.
They played last week.
Okay.
And so I've been a part of that for probably the last 5 seasons, I guess.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I mainly book all the bands and stuff.
Okay, so you're dealing with that too. I mean, you got a lot going on.
Oh no, it's fun stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
it
well, it all
doesn't take a lot
sounds
of time.
fun.
Yeah, it is fun stuff. But so with Monday nights I teach, then Tuesday nights I take fiddle.
Fiddle.
Fiddle is bad.
It's hard.
Oh man, I'm not a good fiddle player, But
Are you gonna be though? You gonna get there?
Oh, it's gonna be so good. Doug
Yeah.
Kershaw better look out. So, no, he better not.
I mean, that's, there's so many instruments that I love to listen to. Well, like I told you when you first came here, I just started playing guitar. Or
Yeah.
like, before I say
You play
playing,
guitar?
I know I did learning.
Oh, you're learning guitar. That's right. You said, yeah.
But man, it's like, it gets back to, that's why I don't know. It makes me happy to talk to you because sometimes I guess, and I don't mean envy in a negative way. I talk about it in a positive
Yeah.
way. I'm a little envious because it's things that I look back on my life and I go, man, if I'd have maybe just made one little different decision at this time, and you go, I wish I would have learned to play guitar younger, or maybe wish I'd have stuck with maybe more traditional art. Because I look at someone like you and I'm going, it just seems like it continues to blossom in new directions because you stayed on it, man.
I can't believe where it brought me. I mean, it's been a crazy little journey, but every little journey has its little potholes.
Sure, that's right. That's
for
absolutely
sure.
true.
But sometimes you could jump over some of those. But
Yeah. Well, I think those things they change us for the better sometimes if we let them.
Yeah.
We can always get stuck in one and stay there too long.
it makes you watch out for the next one for sure.
Yeah.
So, but I've really enjoyed doing what I do.
Some people and some artists that I've met are very introverted. A lot of creative people want to kind of isolate themselves and just get focused in on the work. And then when I get to talking to them, I find out there's this beautiful personalities in there that you just aren't getting to meet. And they're not always, you just don't always know that.
Yeah.
And so I guess talking to you, I see you seem like you're kind of extroverted.
Well, they usually can't get me to shut up, and sometimes I should shut up, but I can't do it.
Well, you just seem like a lot of fun, like somebody
Well,
people like to be around. Yeah.
I like to have fun. I mean, I think that's what life is about, just having fun and making other people's day better. So
Yeah. Well, I agree. And you think you've done that through your artwork?
yeah, I think so. It's fun to watch people as I'm painting in their homes and things, because I do a lot of interior murals too in a lot of people's homes, and I would say that's at least 60% of it is interior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or maybe more than that.
Wow.
But so it's fun to watch them come in, and I'm working. That's so beautiful. How is that a bad job? It's not a bad.
Not, man.
It's not a bad job when people tell you that it looks beautiful and everything.
Yeah, what does that feel like? See, man, that's where that envy comes in, because I'm going to tell you something. It sounds so negative, but do you know how rare that is here?
Yes.
I mean, we don't hear that. I almost, for years, I used to, I'm aware that it's necessary because I know, positive reinforcement works.
Yeah.
If you're stuck in a negative rut all the time, like a pothole, like you said, it chips away at you, and you can kind of fall into a pattern. And I've found with my team, as it's had different people here throughout the years, that burden kind of fell on me because so often the client just doesn't, because of what we do, it's quick. You do it, get it out there, you move on. It is so rare to ever have a client go,
this is
man, this is working so great for my brand, and it may be.
Yeah.
And you see it out in the community.
But they don't
Sometimes it's
give
like,
that to you.
we don't hear it. It's time. It's over. You move on to the next thing. And, I have to do, that's sort of my role. And I don't know what you'd even call that, but it's the nurturer to go, hey, I like what you did there, to the designer, and go, I think that's going to be great. I hope they love it. Oh, I saw your work out there. And you do that for a long time, and you start to begin to see that it's not happening. So hearing that you get that's got to be like rewarding and just lift you up as a creative person.
It really is. And that's why I don't mind, going to work at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock and then working my whole 5-hour day and then coming home. No, I work more than that. So
I believe
a lot
it.
of my friends say, you don't even work.
My goodness.
When do you work? You don't work.
Come on.
And I'm like, oh my God. But they don't see me when I'm in there painting till 1 o'clock at night,
Right.
And which I'm enjoying doing it,
Yeah.
I can sit there and watch movies while I sit and paint, or listen to books on tape.
I listen to podcasts when I'm in. I
even
usually do the same thing at night. Whenever we're closed, I'll stay up here, and sometimes it's with the business you're doing different things, but a lot of times I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to write.
That's when you can work.
Yeah, I can write better,
Focus.
I can design better, or plan a project better. And even if it's just a couple of hours,
Sure.
But yeah, for me, it's podcasts. I listen to people talk, and I love learning about people, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that everybody's so interesting. I have these our own little. Today we were talking at our morning meeting, and I said, I was digging for some tools the other day, and I keep this can in my toolbox. And every time if I put a new door knob on, or if I hang a picture, or if I put a toilet lid on or something, there's always like little leftover things.
Oh, yeah.
So I throw, and after years
My
I'll throw
barn's
stuff in
full
there.
of that.
Well, yeah, we all have something like that. Maybe it's a kitchen drawer, and I said, but I was digging for something, and there was like a nail in there, and I found a button. And funny thing is, when I found that button, I was like, oh yeah, that's from that shirt, and it fell off while I was working. That was 4 years ago.
But you remember.
But that's in there. And I said, we're really all kind of like these little things. Sometimes there's something you need in there.
Oh, yeah.
And it may be down at the bottom, and you pick it up and you go, oh, and you put it back on top, and you throw more things in there. But everything's still inside, man. And everybody's got their own little.
And I think that's why I like taking from different artists and stuff, taking workshops from different artists and things, because I think all of those things combined create your style. The things that you learn from each one of those people, even from Miss Hollis back in high school, all of those little things that they just keep adding to your palette and the way you paint and the way you design and the way you think even, So, so many people have helped me along my journey. Unbelievable, the people that step in and, that they're put in your path to teach you and to feed you and get you going. I'm definitely well fed. Definitely.
Do you feel like that? Do you have a lot of, taking that to a little deeper level? You're touching on stuff that I think about all the time. You just said it, all the people that get put in your path.
Yeah.
Do you ever sit back and string all that together and just go, wow?
Yeah.
If any one of these people
had not been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
What would you say, and this may be hard to answer on the fly, but what would you say if you could just name one key moment? Are there some moments that you can pinpoint where you go, oh, this was a game changer? This shifted things for me.
Probably the Art Institute, because I left in a pinto bean colored a Ford Pinto, a little hatchback. I left for Dallas and had all of my little stuff in there, and that was the first time I had been out on my own, and I head to Dallas, Texas. And I was like, what in the world am I going to do in Dallas? It was pretty scary. But I got there and moved in the apartment, and it snowed that first day. I remember that as I got to Dallas. And then the second day, the fire department's banging on the door. Get out. Yeah, there's a fire. So the apartment complex was on fire. They came into our apartment, busted holes in the ceiling.
Oh my gosh.
Putting water up into the attic and all of this. And
this is day one.
Yeah, well, day two, actually. Yeah, first day it snowed. Then the second day there was a fire.
Oh my goodness, man.
The third day we moved. So
that was like almost, that's live highlighter markering that for you. It's like, okay, remember this. We're going to give you some ways to remember that.
Mm-hmm. But the things that I learned there, taught me how to do business and taught me, and I'm not a great business person at all, but I know how to treat people. I know how to respect their space, and I think that's very important to know that. So I think that was a big life changer for me.
Yeah.
Just going to Art Institute and being out there on my own and stuff,
You just nailed something right on the head for me. I think that is just the center point of what would change the world. I mean, it's such a simple lesson, but it's so easily forgot. It's how to treat people.
Oh, yes.
I mean, do you know? I mean, I think about that almost as much as I think about anything is how am I treating somebody? How do I want to be treated?
Yeah.
And I think, and boy, again, I'm pat myself on the back. I'm trying to, give
Yeah.
myself a lot of credit, but I really do think I treat people the way I want to be treated.
Sure.
And I look around sometimes and I think, man, if we could, if everybody did that, things would just change. I mean, across every landscape.
Yes. I think, even last night, I picked up this mother and her son walking down the road, and they didn't have a place to sleep, so I got them a hotel.
Wow, man.
And just get them a hotel room.
And you didn't know
simple
them?
thing. No, I didn't. Had no clue. But I was on the way to my class, and I said, "Look, I can get y'all a room for the night," and then
That's
so
what it's
just
all
those
about.
little things like that, gave them a place to take a bath and get a good night's rest.
Yeah. Oh man,
So
Ronnie, I don't know, man. That kind of stuff right there to me is infinitely more important than some of the things we occupy ourselves with.
I think so.
For
I
a
mean,
mother to be able to go sleep in safety and comfort with their child, clean, I think we take it for granted.
Yeah.
I lay down with my son sometimes at night, and when he falls asleep, and I'm rubbing his hair and I look at him all peaceful and I think, air conditioning, soft bed.
Oh, yeah.
We're at peace. I get to lay here with my child, and just so many people that just don't have that
it.
simple luxury.
They don't. No, we've. I was doing a mural in South Part of Jennings on a fence down there, and I met this woman, and she was homeless. I mean, she gets a Social Security check, $700 and something. Well, anyway, she gets a Social Security check every month. She was living in a garage on the ground. And I said, no way. So for a while, I moved her into my house for over a month. And she stayed there. But she's in her own home now. And I help her get things going every month. And it's a job, believe me.
But you're showing a kindness and a mercy that is so needed in the world, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so much that needs to be done, and it's the little things I think sometimes we can forget to do, because I'm guilty of it, truthfully. I mean, I've had, and it usually eats at me later when I'm really busy and I'm going somewhere and I see somebody. I'll stop when I can, but then there's times when I'm like, I just
I'm in
can't.
a hurry, yeah.
And I'm like, well,
I do
maybe
the
somebody
same
else
thing.
will. I think we all probably do.
And it's hard to do that because you never know what you're going to get.
No, you don't. You don't
So
know.
you have to
don't.
be really careful. And I know my mother's probably listening, saying, "Oh my God, what is he doing?"
Well, I think
picking up people at night.
Well, I for a while, and it still happens. It sometimes I think it happens more to the people who are open to it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what that is, but people who work here will tell you sometimes people show up at the door here and they think they're at the wrong place. And then they come here thinking it's another place, and they're like, "Hey, I'm looking for such and such." And I'm like, "Well, that's not that place." And man, I don't know what happens, but we start talking. For long, they're in here at this table, and I'm finding out what's going on. And
Wow.
usually it's some kind of thing like that where you're going, "Oh my gosh, they don't have a place to live. They've got some kind of trouble." Sometimes, man, people just want somebody to listen to them and just go, "Hey,
yeah.
my life story matters. The bumps, the bruises, the tears."
Sure.
And I think, I don't know, opening your heart to people is not a bad thing.
There's so many people out there that do need help, but you can't help all of them. I know that. I'm not
Sure,
rich, but
me either.
I have times that I can help people, and other times I can't. So
Yeah. Well, at least you do what you can do.
Yeah,
It's
but-
better to do something than to do just
Yeah.
nothing. I don't know. You can kind of you can turn that faucet off, and then it'll dry up on you, and then your heart kind of withers. A little piece of you withers away.
Yep.
But you're bringing people joy and happiness through your art. But again, getting back to your music, I didn't realize that you did all that. I didn't realize you wrote original pieces, and that you
Yeah.
did original work. I really had no clue.
I probably have written close to 100 songs, but a lot of those disappeared when I went to a wedding in Pensacola, and I left this whole binder of stuff sitting up on top of the truck, and I drove off, and no telling where it is.
Oh my gosh!
So
you ever think you're gonna hear one of those on the radio?
I thought that today. I was wondering what happened to all of those songs, So
you never know, man. It'd be a hit one day, and you're like, "Hey, that's what happened to that."
I wrote that.
Right?
It's achy breaky heart. No, not. I hope not. Although,
yeah. Do you have anything? You got some new work?
a few pieces, but I have times that I write, and then other times I'm like, just don't feel it.
Yeah.
I get into art mode, or vacation mode is a wonderful thing.
Vacation mode? Boy, I could use some vacation mode.
Me
man.
too.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
been at least a couple of months.
It's been a while for me. I hear you. I think a lot of that has to do with the way our industry structured, because there's a deadline every day.
You got to keep it
every day.
Keep it rolling, huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
me too.
No, we have kind of rearranged things to where a lot of it now can be managed mobile.
Oh,
but you got to really
good.
work on the front end to make sure that everything's done. So that way you can kind of get in that cycle. But it's every couple of years there'll be a way to where we can kind of get it situated where we can take a decent vacation.
Yeah.
But
and vacation is very important.
yeah, I think you're right.
I really do.
Yeah. Well, you have too many. I mean, I meet a lot of people who have got it's from troubles to troubles, and I really do feel bad for people like that, because I mean, I've been through spells like that where it could be 2 or 3 years where it's like, man,
Yeah.
every year or every
man.
6 months there's like a thing, that's
You
a
have
big
to quit your job. That's the first thing, is quit that job.
Yeah.
No, you work for yourself.
But no,
so
it's
that's
true.
great.
Like what it is it could be, it could be anything. You could lose a relative, somebody could get sick.
Sure.
Those things where you just, all your attention gets on those. And, but then you meet people where it's just one thing after the other. And I mean, you go, man, your heart's got to go out to them, because there's no peace for them. Their mind is just constantly going. There's no rest. And so that's sometimes whenever it's time for me to take a vacation, I ain't gonna lie, I feel a little guilty sometimes, because I start going, man.
But it's fun to put it on Facebook, so everybody's like, "You dog, you're on another vacation."
No, I've looked at your pictures, and I'm like, man, he's been to some beautiful places.
Oh my God. There's so many things to see just in the United States that are just incredible.
So what do you like? You like the mountains?
Oh yeah, I like mountains. And it's funny because I live in the middle of a rice field, and out in the country, and it's all flat, but it's so beautiful out there. And then I love going to the mountains, and I love the beaches, and so there's all kinds of things that.
But if you got to make a choice, mountains or mountains. Me too.
Colorado.
Me too, brother.
I'm
oh my
ready.
gosh, I'll go today.
Oh, me too. Let's go.
Hey man, don't talk to me too hard, because I will go.
Let's go. Well, let's wait till Monday.
Hey, let me tell you something about Colorado. I like Colorado so much. When I was when I was putting the show together, I was like, I knew kind of what I wanted to do, and I want some music, and I love John Denver.
Oh,
And so, but I can't afford no John Denver licensing. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Anyway, I was looking through one of my sources I get music from, and I was like, maybe I can get something that's like a John Denver knockoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Couldn't find anything, so I just said, you're searching and searching. I said, well, I'm just going to type in Colorado music, and I found this band in Denver. I was looking for John Denver, but I found this band out of Denver, and they had a nice piece of music license, and I listened to it, and I was like, what they said in the song it resonated with what I wanted to do for this. And so I was like, well, that's good, because Colorado's in my heart, man. I got the mountains in my heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
is that's the group singing on your
On the podcast.
I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
they're from
Okay.
Denver, Colorado.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard that. That was a great interview with Mickey.
Oh yeah, Mickey. Yeah, he did a good job.
That was really good.
Mickey's interesting because one, it's hard to when you meet another teacher, because you meet Mickey and you go, oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
For me, what it did, serendipitous, I guess. And you talked about those people that get in your life. I was at a parade here in Sulphur the other day, and my speech teacher was there. And I talk about, she knows now, but she doesn't know how often I talk about her. I mean, people that work with me will go, man, you talk about her all the time. I said, well, because at that time in my life, she didn't even, I don't know if she even knew, but she was giving me these like pinpoint lessons that I, to this day, even though she was teaching me this one thing, I can still filter so many things through
that. Yeah.
And I told her the other day, I was like, that stuff stuck big time.
My speech teacher also, Miss Ruby Wright, lives here in Lake Charles. And she gave me, I remember us doing these speech things to where we all had to speak as a group, and the blending and the harmonizing of these voices and stuff, and keeping that the levels and stuff. I remember that when I'm doing music and stuff.
Yeah.
So all of those things, all the little pieces are put together that create all of this right
That's
here.
right. Everything that's, communication, that was the same thing for me with speech, just learning how to communicate better, one, but then just being comfortable talking. I wasn't so comfortable. I had bad social anxiety, man. Like, oh man, total
Speaking
introvert. And
Well,
just
I don't
even
like
doing
it either.
this, I wouldn't have been okay with this.
I'm sitting over here rubbing my legs like I'm my little nervousness,
Yeah,
So,
and it's natural. I think a lot of us are like that, and it might even be harder now because there's so much communication taking place in the typed word, written word.
Yeah.
But that lesson of learning, okay, it's important to talk to people, because I could talk to my friends, right? But when I got into some territory with something like even you, it's funny because we said we know each other. We know each other.
Yeah.
So just sitting down and having a conversation for me 25 years ago would have been, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And now I find I find it's just an absolute treasure to dig in people's the little nuts and bolts can and go, what's in that can, man? What's down the bottom down there?
Yeah. Well, I'm not giving you the bottom.
Well, don't give me the bottom, but
don't talk to my friends.
You might have a nice, maybe there's a piece of candy in there or something,
Don't talk to my friends. That's all I say.
Oh, dude, well, I'm going to get some of my friends on here because a lot of them still live around here. And the whole point of this show is, honestly, for me, I don't know, news has become like a landslide, man. You see these pictures of like ducks swimming on the beach and there's trash on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what I feel like the news has become. It's like, I want to go out and wade in the water, but I can't anymore.
I don't watch it.
It's too hard. And I said, what's going on for me is every time I sit with a customer or just meet somebody on a project and we talk, I want to keep going and getting into these corners and cracks. And I'm like, man, there's some really good people out there.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not like digging it out. We're all so busy. So I said, there's a lot of people that are doing ordinary things out there, spreading a little bit of happiness, a little joy.
This is really a great thing that you're doing. Highlighting, all the great things instead of negative stuff like you see every day on the news. So.
Well, I knew there was more to you than a smile, just than a nice, friendly face, man. There was a lot going on there.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Just don't get in front of me in your car or your truck. So.
Yeah, right. You're right.
Get out of the way.
No, I think, I think that does it for everybody. It kind of illustrates, I don't know why, if anybody even cares to hear about this, but one morning, for me, it was really this day when I thought we've lost our minds. I was coming to work, and I live here in town, so I was coming down the street, and I don't speed and stuff, and honestly, I'm the same way. I'm a pretty conscious driver, and I was driving, and I was making sure I got room, and I don't know what happened. Even to this day, all these 6 months ago, I still don't know what happened. I'm on the road. It's a little 2-lane, and this lady comes up by me, and I just out of the corner of my eye, I kind of see her motioning, So I turn and look, and she is
Furious, huh?
furious. Screaming, man, and pointing at me. And so she rolls her window down, and I can hear her voice, and I don't even know what she was saying. It was just incoherent, but she was angry, Ronnie.
Oh, man.
And so we turned the corner, and I thought, well, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I started going through my head, like, what did I do? Anyway, so I eventually, as we're driving down the road, I go, well, I can't solve it. I feel bad because I really do. Did I do something? She's pacing me. And so she's just screaming again, going down the road, and she won't let me get by. And so I roll my window down, and I said, I'm trying to tell her, I was like, ma'am, what's going on? I don't understand. And she just wouldn't let me be. And eventually she just took off. But
Really?
what I came to work and I sat at my desk and I was stunned. I was like,
It's crazy.
it's weird because I had no malice. I mean, I'm sure
have
just
no
trying
clue
to
what you
normal.
did,
I
huh?
don't know what I did, and this person's whole morning is just shot
Oh, man.
over that, And you go, what's got us all so riled up, man?
Yeah. I need to take medication or something. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'd love to know. I'm telling you, that's gonna be one of my great mysteries of my life is what I did that lit her fuse, man. Because this is seriously
She
a bad
might
day.
drive over here if you give her the address.
I actually thought she was going to follow me in the parking lot. And I mean, part of me was like, I kind of almost wanted to know. And then
Then you're like, leave it alone.
leave it alone.
Leave
She
it
might
alone.
have, this day, and honestly, she might have got out and shot me in the
Yeah.
parking lot, man. I
Oh,
don't
I had
know.
a lady wave a gun at me one time. I was like, are you kidding me?
That's wild, man.
She's driving along in her little Lexus. I was like,
I know.
shoot. She was like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah. I just want to let a little bit of the steam out, man,
Yeah.
because I don't like the way I feel when I got something building up like that, because that
Mm-hmm.
nobody really, I guess none of us want to, but that's all the bad stuff, man. I mean, I
Yeah.
think just being trying to just be conscious that hey, maybe things are a little hard out there. You never know what somebody's day's been like, you
Yep.
know. I know that when you walked in, you had your guitar.
Oh, yeah.
You gonna play me a song?
I'll play a song.
Is it gonna be an original?
Yeah, original song. Let's see. Me and John Denver wrote it. And
You and John Denver. That's my boy.
we gotta see if I can grab this thing. If you can stand it, I can.
I can stand it, man. We may
Man.
have to play with the mics a little bit, get it to it. Let's
Yeah,
hear
I'm
how it
gonna back up a
sounds, and
little
then,
bit.
yeah, it might be.
Let's see what this thing will. So, I have some really good friends all over the United States, but I have some great friends in Jennings that have this fantastic lake house out on Lake Livingston, and they let me go out there and relax on the weekends or whenever I want during the week, whenever I can find some time. And so I'm sitting out there on the dock one night, and there was a full moon that night, and it came up across the lake, and I said, and it was so still out there. There was two moons right there, and so I said, man, that could be a song, Two Moon Bay. And so I started writing the song, and that weekend, I mean, a lot of times I'll come up with an idea and really fight, to get it to work out and stuff, and then there's other ones that just kind of roll out, and they're just there. And then sometimes I dream them, and I have dreamed that I wrote a song, and it's
so
there.
you've actually dreamed about a song, and then
Yes.
you get up and you write the
I
song.
sure did. But most of the time they just kind of pop in my head, and
And you just take off with
Take
it.
off
You're
with it.
inspired. So that sounds like your method. You wait for the inspiration.
Yep.
huh?
With art or music, but so this one's called Two Moon Bay. Tide comes in, sun comes up on Two Moon Bay. Feels so cool, the air is sweet. It makes you wanna stay, and I only wanna hold you, make you love me more on those days that last forever on Two Moon Bay. The clouds rolled in on an endless sky. The day comes to an end. We walk together along the shore. With you I wanna stay, and I only wanna hold you, make you love me more on those
on to Moon Bay. When I see you standing there, the sunlight on your face, I'd give you everything if everything could make this moment last. This is where Robert LeBlanc plays a little lead part in there. And I only wanna hold you, make you love me more on those days that last forever. I wanna spend forever, these days go on forever on to Moon Bay. Anyway, that's a little
Oh my
shorter
gosh,
version.
man, that is a treat. Oh my
Man,
goodness,
thank you.
Ronnie.
Thank you. It's fun.
I'm kind of in awe right now. I'd had no idea. I've seen pictures of you playing, but I haven't heard you play.
Well, that's it's fun. I love to play music.
That's
with
great,
people.
man.
I have met so many great people through playing music, and well, in art too. I mean, just it's amazing. I met all of my friends at the Art Institute by playing music. We'd sit in my bedroom at night and 15, 20 people in the bedroom sitting in there just playing music all night.
You know, it just gives and gives, doesn't
it
it? Like y'all
does.
giving,
It
you
does.
give to each other, I guess, whenever you're doing that.
Yep. Next time I'm on here, well, we'll have to do a duet with
Well,
your
maybe
guitar
if I
playing.
can get past those 7 chords and learn some strumming pattern. I mean, I got a long way to go.
You'll get there.
Long way to
Just
go,
keep
man.
it up.
That. But you know, I met a guitar player yesterday, and he said a lot of similar things to what you said, and it's making me realize more and more that there's just a musician's and an artist's heart, you know, and it's something that just sort of. And maybe not everybody's like that, but I don't know. It seems like they all beat together, you know, and they do like to share and help each other out, which is something I think everybody could take a little lesson from.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Well, how can people find you? What you got going on next, and where people can find you and listen to you and
Well-
see your artwork, and if they want to hire you, I mean, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can find me on Facebook under Ronnie Collins, and if that doesn't work, my email address, I guess I give that out on here. I mean,
You can give it out if you want people to have it.
Yeah, it's I_am_paintslinger@yahoo.com.
I'll put a link on the blog
Okay.
post too. That way people can get
cool.
in touch, find your Facebook page too.
Yeah, and then I have Ronnie Collins murals on there, on Facebook, that you can see a bunch of my artwork. And but so we'll be doing that Yellow Leaf Festival on the 27th.
And that's
And,
in St.
yeah.
Francisville, or
And St. Francisville.
Yeah.
And we'll be playing about 1 o'clock. And then this coming Thursday, October 25th, I'm going to be playing at the Ziegler Museum. They have they have a fine wine and dine night there about twice a year, and it helps fund the museum.
Okay.
The museum in Jennings, the Ziegler Museum, is incredible. They have the most
that's
beautiful.
that's on 25th.
The 25th, next
Thursday.
Mm-hmm. And so I'll be playing at that. Just a little bit of music during dessert and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But so that'll be a fun event. They have some really good food at those events, and I'm sure you can get tickets if you call the museum.
Yeah.
And they're on Facebook also. So
Ziegler Museum.
yeah, the Ziegler Museum
In Jennings?
Yep, and their number is 824-0114.
Okay.
So you can get tickets there. It's a great event.
So I've never been to the Ziegler Museum.
Really?
No, never been. You know, I don't. When I go to Jennings, it's usually to meet with a client or to do a job, and then it's like you got to get there and get back to Lake Charles or Sulphur, and so I don't have a lot of time to kick around.
Sure.
You know, but I do have some friends that live over there.
You know,
Now I got another friend that's over in that
yeah,
area.
they just come see me.
I will come see you. Don't invite me too hard,
Now,
because I
that's what
will.
I tell people too. Don't invite me. I'll show up.
Yeah, I'll be there.
So
And don't say we're going to Colorado either, because I might.
I'm ready.
Watch
Look,
out.
I have a friend up there that has this log cabin right outside of Ouray, Colorado.
Really?
In Montrose, and oh my God, it looks out over the. I believe it's the San Juan Mountains. I believe it is.
Man.
Mountain. And Ralph Lauren's ranch is out there. He has thousands of acres out there.
Man, something happens to my
Beautiful.
brain in Colorado.
Oh,
My brain just goes into a whole. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, I can go home and relax. I can go to the beach and relax. I'm like you. I like a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah.
But when I hit the mountains, man, I don't know what it is. It's that the air. I don't know, man.
It's beautiful there. I like it in the wintertime.
Me too.
I like it
And
in
the summer.
Summertime, there's some beautiful lakes up
Yeah, there
there.
are. You ever been to Grand Lake?
No.
It's up Estes Park, Winter Park area.
Yeah. I know that area. Yeah.
Man.
Near Aspen and all.
Yeah, it's all up in those
I've been
ski.
to Aspen, but
I never go up. It's funny because when I tell people we're going to Colorado, they're like, "Oh, y'all going skiing?" I'm like, "I ain't never been skiing."
me either.
I don't go to ski, man. I went
go to
dog
paint
sledding.
or-
You can go to
Yeah.
paint. Yeah,
Paint or just chill out.
me
hike and
too,
stuff.
brother. Just do nothing. I can just
In
walk
that
around and
air.
smell that air.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. That's what I want to do. We Grand Lake was nice. It's a small little town, but man, it's beautiful up there. Big lakes all up in the mountains, up
And they're
high in the
blue.
mountains. They're
Those
blue.
mountains. Yeah.
We went to a place called Sulphur Springs, actually, spelled just like the city of Sulphur. And it was kind of tucked away little place. You drive right by it. We almost did because it was a snowstorm. But it was actually, it was like a hot springs up in the mountains, right? But it was snowing. I mean, like 4 or 5 inches thick out there when we got there. Ice covering all of it. Me and my wife sat out there while it was snowing in these hot springs, man. And it was
I love
just
that.
the neatest thing. I was like, God, I could just cook in here forever.
That's why I go to Silverton, Durango, Silverton, and Ouray, Colorado. There's hot springs throughout the whole town of Ouray, and the city pool is hot springs.
Yeah.
And you can go there and take a hot shower
Yeah.
or whatever, and just there's some beautiful areas.
Yeah,
there.
Glenwood's like that.
Is it
Glenwood.
really?
Yeah, they're public pools and stuff for hot
I'm gonna
springs.
have to go check that out.
Now, let me tell you, I had a cool experience up there when I was younger. I had went to see a girlfriend up there, and her dad kind of knew the lay of the land. And one night, he took us. He said, "I'm gonna go hang out with some buddies." He played guitar. He was a good guitar player, and he played jingles and stuff for the radio. And he said, "Well, I'm gonna take y'all. We're gonna go do something else, and I'm gonna take you to the hot springs." So I thought we were going to like the pool. Well, we park on this weird kind of area, and we walk underneath the bridge down there, and there were all these homeless people living under the bridge. But they were like, they had a campfire.
They were having a good time.
And they had, and what they had done is, I guess over the years, there's some of these little offshoots of those hot springs that bubble out places. Well, they had put rocks and made
them a
like a
pool?
giant little hot tub, and it had been there, and they were all hanging out in there, and we all just hung out there,
That
man.
sounds cool.
Yeah, it was like that off the beaten path kind of thing, and I was like, and I remember it was snowing because I was sitting in the hot water kind of looking up, and I was like, man, snow just kind of disappears above your head. Just a cool experience. It
Yeah.
made me, that's partly, just little things like that made me fall in love with the place.
I go to the ones where the clothing is optional.
Clothing optional.
And you have not lived until you have seen all of this. With my clothes.
Me too. Right. No, man. Well, hey, it's funny. I mean, figure drawing kind of washes that out of my system, man.
It's nothing. It's so much fun. We were there when the moon was supposed to be at its biggest. That I forgot what night it was, but anyway. And sitting there in these hot springs in the middle of Colorado, and the moon's coming right up. It was enormous. Just incredible.
The clearest skies I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, I mean, just.
And speaking of that, you like in John Denver, I'm sitting there in the sauna with all these people, and we're talking and talking to this older man in there and stuff, and just visiting with him. he was John Denver's producer.
Come on.
And he
That's
was right
cool.
there in that little thing. And they said, "Do you know who that was?" And I was like, "Have no clue." So.
Oh
and
man,
they
should have had
told
your
me that.
guitar with you, man. It might have been the
Rocky
next. Oh my
Mountain High.
gosh,
So-
man.
Oh man.
Well, I got to tell you, man. I was thrilled for you to come in, and I know you said what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
What we're going
Like,
to talk about?
how
We've been
we gonna
talking for an hour and a half, man.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
It goes by, bro.
know.
It goes by because you know what? Is everybody's got that little
Yeah,
nuts
that
and
little
bolts cup, man.
cup,
You
yeah.
get in there, and I bet you there's probably a lot more,
Oh
man.
man, we don't want to go into all of that. Though.
Well, no,
So-
I know. I don't want an old receipt or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
down there.
Yeah. Man.
But or a paper clip or something that's been down there too long,
Oh man.
or even
keep those at the bottom.
or even old gumball.
Yeah.
You know,
No
just
telling what you'll find in
Jolly
there.
Rancher with something on it. No, man, I'm just glad you came in. I'm glad you
Thank you.
agreed to sit down. I honestly, and I just want to tell you, I think that, and I don't know if you think of yourself this way, but I think you're a good person, man.
Nah, I'm just a regular guy
Well,
out there.
that's what it is, though, man. It's just regular people doing regular stuff, you know.
Well, thank you for having me on too. I mean, that's awesome to come in. I was really nervous about it, but I was like, okay, it'll go all right.
Yeah, you know why? Because we're all just people, man.
Yeah.
We're really just people.
You know, Mickey Smith comes in. He's all real cool, right? I'm like, I'm not gonna be like that at all.
Mickey, you know what, man? Mickey, he's got a special knack for that. He's got
he's laid back, just chilling. You know,
he's got the rhymes, man. He's got the sayings. He's good at it, and he's got that stuff just pops right out of him. You know, and everybody's so different, though, man. That's kind of what I told somebody the other day. I said, as this show continues to go on, the word I use is kaleidoscopic, man, because you're gonna be able to see beautiful things and just turn the lens just a little bit, and you're going to see something beautiful every time you look at it.
That's great.
And I love you just